Okay. Good morning once again. Yeah, my name is Temisa. Our session, knowledge sharing session for today, I'll be taking it. Topic being innovating with data. So that's what we're going to talk about basically, innovating with data. So I believe Capricorn, we are according to going in line with what you can have taught last time. We are at goods stroke maturity stage. So we have product that are existing that we can improve using data. We also have new products that we bring into the market daily. We can also use data to make better decisions to guide us on products to innovate on new values to give to the customer. So that's inform our topic for this morning, which speaks to innovating with data. So our objective this morning is to help you find opportunities for product growth, uh, help you become a better product analyst in terms of knowing where to get data and how to use it to make informed decision that leads to product growth. How to get data for your product as well. Where should I get this data from? Who can assist in providing this data? So that's our objective for this lesson today. Okay, first of all, what is data? Data is defined as facts or figures or information that's stored or used by a computer. So data can be facts or figures. It can be, stored in the cloud. It can be a group of numbers that speaks to age, that speaks to gender, that speaks to amount of persons. It can also even be data collected on a piece of paper and stored somewhere to be used either by just observation or to be crunched in uh, computers. Then what is data analysis? Said data analysis is a process of inspecting, cleaning, transforming, and modeling data with goal of discovering useful information, informing conclusion, and supporting decision making. So, uh, you know, at the raw form, so for example, you get your data from a database anywhere. It might contain duplicated details you have to. That's the process of cleaning. The process of looking at your data is called inspecting. And then the process of maybe putting formulas and transforming the cleaned data into something that makes sense is the process of transforming, and also modeling as well. So modeling speaks to things that you do to the data after the data has been cleaned, after it has been inspected, that yes, this data serves the purpose I want to use it for. This data, it's clean, there's no duplicate, it's just one number, names are not repeating. So those are the things you do to your data to make it give you the expected outcome. So what are the type of data that we have? We have quantitative data and we also have qualitative data. So uh, quantitative data speaks to how how many persons bought POS, how many persons are in the Oga Madam platform, how much did they spend buying this POS, how much effort did the well, effort might speak to qualitative data anyway. Then how often so how many persons are on the platform, how often do they do transactions. So getting this data from the data analytics team speaks to quantitative data. Then qualitative data speaks to why. So why are people using our Oga Madam product? Why are people not using our funding with cards? Why are people not using it? So in you trying to ask why, you are speaking to qualitative, then you're not going a step further. So quantitative data might be like the first step in some cases. Then qualitative, when you're asking why do people make this decision? So that speaks to qualitative data. And so you can just have 50 agents bought the POS. But you going a step further to say, what are their names? Where do they buy it from? What type of device are they buying? You trying to get this information, you are speaking to qualitative data at that point. So the question now is, at a unit, where can I get data from as a member of the product team? Where can I get data? Now we've talked about qualitative, quantitative, but where can I get this data from to inform decisions that would, as I said, for my objective, lead to product growth? Okay, external source. You can get data from external source. I believe we are following, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, we can get data from external source, which involves Twitter. You see issues. You see maybe it mostly happen to banks. You see people complaining, oh, that I'm unable to withdraw money from my access bank. People complain. So those are external sources that the company data team can get data from that. People are complaining. There's what we call sentimental analysis, where there are software you use. It will give you details of how sentiment people are on Twitter with your product. You can also get data from the Play Store as well. You can go to Play Store, like you can go to our app, or you can go to the Pada app. Check what people are saying. The reviews that Pagas is getting on the Play Store, those are external source. You can also get data doing further user research and trying to segment user further. So for example, we're targeting only merchants. You can go further to say what kind of merchant are we targeting, or what kind of merchants are accepting Oga Madam products, or what kind of merchants are using the funding with card option to fund. So those are further analysis you can do and further informations you can get. So we have within the product. So you can get data from external source. You can also get data within the product. So a couple of I think I've worked. Okay, I've created a blog one time where there's I plugged it to Google Analytics. So what Google Analytics does is that it gives you real-time information about people that are visiting your website. Where are they visiting from? How long did they spend on the platform? So that's what Google Analytics would give you. So you can plug Google Analytics to your platform, and it gives you this information. You can also connect your platform as well, your website, to a platform called Amplitude. So what they do, it's very fantastic. They track your customer journey. So as at when you log in, what page did you visit, how long did you spend visiting that page, or the next thing you did after then. So these are the information that tools like Amplitude and Mixpanel, these are what they give to you. Also, you can get your data from the MySQL database using SQL language. So most of the things we do here, it's the data team getting data from MySQL database. That's what we use here. So yes, so when though the developers do most of the writing and the data team just extract some of this data, but basically it's from all our data that we use for the ones that they send us in Excel. They got it from the database and they send it to us. Okay, from directly from customers as well. So we can get data from the customer experience team, the inbound team. You can also get data from also the outbound team. So the outbound team is there for us. Everybody can use the outbound team that you currently have in customer experience. So like what I was planning the last time, I think I have some conversation with Ikena on this before I even proceeded, where I went to the data team, got the data for number of persons that are using the funding with card. The second level of intention was to, where our customer having challenges, do the customer experience team, the outbound team needs to call these people to get qualitative information from this customer that are using the platform, they are using this product, what are their challenges. So in the process, so okay, let me just take it one step back. First thing first, I met the data team to get quantitative data, right? Then the second step for me was then engaging so when I look at the quantitative data, I was making sense of it. I saw that persons were using the platform maybe one time, they were not repeating. So I went further to get qualitative data, which means I reached out to the customer experience team. Why are people not using this platform repeatedly? They said people are having issues. I had to reach out to the finance team. Why are the issues of the customer not being solved? Because the customer experience team say that they would not they are not pushing the platform because people are having issues that are yet to be resolved. So in me doing that, I'm getting qualitative data now. It's no longer how many persons are using it, is why are they not using it now. So in me trying to know the why, it's me getting qualitative data. So the customer experience team said they're not pushing it because the solution it's not being given to those that have issue. I went to the finance team, to see how that issue can be resolved. So being so kind, I went to use the word God so kind. God so kind. Yeah, let me use that word. God so kind. We finally, put an end to that issue, create a resolution process. So what I'm trying to say basically is, in me doing these things, I'm speaking to both qualitative and quantitative data. So customer interview is also a way. We don't really do that much here, but bringing customer to the office, sometimes we do it, but it's not so from the product team anyway. Going to the field, interviewing customer. Yes, I think for PPS, no, not PPS, for trade finance. Yeah, for trade finance, I think at some point Kena did that. So getting to the customer, trying to know what their issues are, trying to solve those issues. So in doing that, you are getting that as customer interview. They can also come to the office if they are being incentivized. Ask them this question. It can also be on a call as well. Maybe you bring a group of customer on a Zoom call and be asking them series of questions that would inform your decision. So those are also qualitative data as well. Quantitative, just number; qualitative, more details and more information. So customer feedback. Another communication channel as well. You can also maybe like this from the sales team, from the emails team, from the social media team. You can also get information. So this information that you have now, how do we make sense of this data? So I've talked about different sources of getting data, kind of data you can have, qualitative or quantitative. So how do you make sense of this data? So you can use a platform. There's a platform called Power BI, right? So let me just give you a story. So when I was in the customer experience team, I was like, at some point, I was doing workload and reporting. So most of the data from the outbound team, either the head of customer experience team does the analysis, or I do the analysis. I know how to use Power BI. So some of the reasons is, if you want to get a second view of what data is saying. So there was a scenario that happened then where we saw that agents that were brought in by the sales team does refer less than agents that was brought in by their brothers or sisters. So let me explain. So we are seeing that agents that were brought in by the sales team, that were sold device to by the sales team, they don't sell device to any other person again. But agents that were sold device for by maybe a brother or sister or a friend sold more devices. So we're now asking, okay, why is this happening? You understand? We went further to call the customer to know how much did you buy the device? We are seeing that customers that bought device from our sales staff bought device at maybe 80,000 naira, 100K, while the device was 30,000 naira. And customer that bought device maybe from a referral from a brother or a friend bought device at maybe 30,000 naira or 40,000 naira, which is the actual price. So now so that people, it's why we look at the data. We now saw that people were referring more people because they bought device at a cheaper rate and they can easily refer other people. But those that bought from the sales team at a very high rate, they were not referring other people because it's on a very high side. They are not even inspired to inform other people. And even when they have issues, we also saw from the data that also some of the things that we also got from that data was also customers that were referred by their brother or sister, right? Their issues was resolved faster because when they have issue, they will call their brother, they will provide resolution to those issues. Also, that's when you call the sales staff that sold the device for you, they might not even answer you or stuff. So yeah, so we had those issues and we did those analysis and we saw those information from the data. Also, you can also analyze your data using Excel, as a lot of us do. We use Excel to analyze data. To say you clean your data, remove every duplicate, and you proceed. You can also use Mixpanel. So as I said, you can plug Mixpanel to your platform directly. It takes data and it also analyzes the data for you as well. You can track customer journey from the moment they enter the app. What was the next thing they did? It gives you step-by-step information of the customer journey. You can also Mixpanel and Amplitude works the same way. So I understand how to use Mixpanel. But not Amplitude that much, but Mixpanel, I can use Mixpanel as well. So you can also use Python programming language for those that knows how to code. So when I was learning Power BI the last time, there's some persons that saw Power BI as a stress, but they just use Python. The programming language will also give you the same outcome, but I don't know how to use that anyway. But Python also, when you crunch the data, you put the data into they write some codes and definitely gives you a graph, it gives you what people are saying about your product and different analysis that you can get from that. Also, analyzing data from the survey, if you do a survey analyzing the data, maybe to a Google form, you can see that 100% of people love the POS, just analyzing those data, making sense of it. Also, Google Analytics as well is also very, as I said earlier, you plug it to your platform and it gives you information. You can also use AI and machine learning to crunch a lot of data. So, for example, data being collected from Facebook, Facebook, we put a lot of data, even Instagram put a lot of data on those platforms. Those kind of data, they are not being crunched on Excel or maybe Power BI. No, they use programming language, they use machine learning to crunch those data and make sense of it, to see patterns that they follow, saying, customer that spend more time on the platform has the possibility of inviting their friends. There are a lot of things you can do with that as well. Okay, so how to get the best from your data. So we've talked about where to get data from, how to where to get your data from, how to crunch your data to make sense. But the last part now is how to get the best from your data. Okay, before you go into analyzing your data, have an hypothesis. So you ask me what's an hypothesis. For those okay, well, a lot of us might know that anyway, but have an hypothesis. So he said a hypothesis is an assumption, an idea that is proposed for the sake of argument so that it can be tested to see if it might be true. So for example, I ask myself, why are people not using funding with cards? So my hypothesis then might not be, is it because the charges are too high? Those are the assumptions that I'm having before I go to look at my data. So there are a lot of assumptions that we can have. So when you have an assumption, it gives you a direction to know what are you looking for. If you don't have an assumption, you just go into the data. You might just see hundreds of rows and column on a cell. You don't know what to look for, how to make sense of it. But once you have an assumption, have an hypothesis that you say, okay, is it because the charges are too high, or is it because uh, is it because customers are not don't know how to use the platform? But when you now go to the data, you now say, okay, uh, charges. So you now see that people are using it. Now like, okay, maybe it's not the charges. People are using it. Then you now go further. You understand? So once you don't have an hypothesis, it becomes confusing. So how to make sense of your data? Have an hypothesis. You cannot write a list of things down like why is Oga Madam not moving, or why are people not using Baxi Pay? You now say, is it because of this? Is it because of this? You write those things down. So when you go to your data, you get to the result faster because you already have things in your head that you are trying to verify. Not that you just get data without a direction. So hypothesis gives you a direction. Okay, it said know your product goal or vision. So why do we intend to build this product in the first place? In the case of funding with card, why did we decide to build this? We want to build an alternative funding process. So look at it now. We want to build an alternative funding process for agents. We got to a point where bank accounts Wema was done, and people are now using the alternative funding process. It begs to question like, okay, this thing was created for this purpose. Why are people not using it? So with that in mind, I went to trying to get the data and trying to make sense of the data. If this was the case, if this is why we set this product up, why are people now not making use of it when the main channel of funding was done? So these are some of the assumptions you have before you check your data, and with that you make sense of your data. Say, okay, you just ask yourself, so what value did we set out to bring to the customer? So what was the initial plan? Why did we create this product in the first place? You write those things down. When you see the data, it makes more sense. Think about how to deliver best experience for the user. So, okay, after the things that we decided to give to the customer, what other things do we think the customer would need? So, when you have this assumption, you want to create a better experience for your user, you get to look at the data, you make sense of it with analysis. Okay, why are customers not completing the process? So you have examples where maybe customer are dropping off during login, like for example Baxi Pay, we had issues where OTP doesn't deliver once. You understand? So customers will drop off at that point. So if you are using mixed panel or amplitude, you get to see this journey. You see that maybe 50 customer logs in, right? And at the end, only 2. Okay, 50 customer try to log in, at the end, only 2 did transaction. You know that, okay, customers are dropping off at the login stage. The data will give you that idea. Then what you now do is to fix the login. You understand? So that's what data does. It knows where the problem is really is coming from. Okay, 50 customers came in, 49 login, 20 wanting to vend eco-electric, but they are not vending. Then you know that, okay, maybe there's one button there on eco-electric that's not clicking. Then you go there, you fix it. So these are the ways to make sense of your data, and knowing what you want to achieve. It guides you to look at the data and get information from the data. Okay, you can just look around, even though you don't have assumptions. So on mixed panel, on Power BI, there's something called I can't remember the exact word now, but there's something called, okay, let me just use the word assumption, right? So what that thing does basically is that you just click it, it gives you different graph about your data. So it's not as if you're having anything in mind. You're just clicking that button and it just give you different assumption. Oh, people are not logging in because maybe the spelling of login was not properly spelled. People are not logging in because if you just give it different assumptions. So in that case, you might not have anything in mind going to your data, but you're just looking around, you're just trying to see patterns. Oh, 50 people bought device, but only 5 are transacting. What is it, a knowledge issue? You understand? So you're just seeing this, and you might just be having assumptions from just looking at your data. Okay, so there's a quote, that I like. It said, "Data, it's garbage. You better you had better known what you are going to do with it before you collect it." So, speaks to me talking about having that assumption before you collect your data. It makes your thinking process faster. Having those assumption, write it down. Then when you get your data, you make sense with it. It's written by was said by Mark Twain. So thank you very, very much. Thanks. I'm done.
Thanks so much, Timmy. So that's actually a lot. So, are there questions from anybody?
Sure, there are questions. Thank you, Temisa. This is a very interesting topic. I think me, I'm big on data as well. So, while you were speaking, I had a lot of things that were popping in my mind, but I don't think I wrote anything down. But I want to ask a general question, not necessarily to Temisa, but anybody can, so you can just be interactive. I think when you were speaking about data, most of your direction towards data was from the aspect of an existing product. So the question now would be, do you need data before a product is developed or built? And if you do, what do you need the data for? Because I don't think that your presentation went in that direction.
Okay, do you want me to answer, or you just want you to bounce
It's a
around?
general question. You can answer, anybody can answer. Then my second question, let me just put all my questions out before we um we go ahead. So my last question, sorry, would now be, so I think from your presentation, after getting all of this data, right? So when you are speaking about applications like Amplitude, I think some of us, we know how it works, and some of the programming languages. Yes, you use the word, I think you called it hypothesis, but I think I understand it as parameters. So before you go and investigate data, you should have set out parameters that you are looking out for. Now, when you now look at an application like Amplitude, for instance, and it gets to tell you that people logged in and they did not get to a particular feature. Let's say it is the feature that you are targeting, to see the performance around that feature, or to see the number of people using it, or the people that how much money is making and all of that. Is it always all the time where where the data stops, or where the data starts reducing before it gets to your feature? Is it always the case that there's a problem in between, or do we also think that there could be other things that can affect all of that? I don't know whether I'm able to communicate my question, but I think it's making sense to me. I don't know whether it makes sense to anybody.
Okay, I got what you said. So you're saying at the point where a customer moves from point A to point B, is it always a case of
Let me
just
just rephrase. Let me just rephrase. What
okay,
what could be the possible outcomes? What could be the possible reasons why, we have a break in user journey
okay,
from one feature to another when you see it from data? Because I know when you were explaining, you said something like, if it is on login, it stops, you go and fix login. So in my mind, if I say what I want to say now, then it won't be a conversation anymore. So I just want us to, have a conversation around that.
Okay, so let me start from the first question. I'll come back to the second question. So the first question speaks to, getting data for a new product. I speak more of existing products and getting data to work on a new product. Yes, it's very important to get data to work on a new product. So because that's why I talked about user research and segmentation. If you don't do a research of your user segment and you go into building a product, you'll be solving a problem that doesn't exist. You understand? So you have to do your user research, know your user segment before you go ahead to build a product to cater for those users that you've identified. Also, when I talk about external source like this social media or Play Store, so I can, if for example Baxi was not existing, I can go to Play Store to see Paga. What are people saying about Paga? What are people still complaining about? Oh, people are complaining about high charges on withdrawal. Oh, I might come with a proposition of saying zero charges on withdrawal. Without a proper research for a new product, right? Without identifying the market segments that you are targeting, you would not make progress. As I said earlier, you solve a problem that doesn't exist because you didn't identify the right customer. I'm trying to validate that customer segment as well. That's where interview come in, asking people question, or you can even do a normal WhatsApp survey your friends on WhatsApp and say, oh, just answer this random question. Do you use POS? How often do you use POS? What is your major challenge? POS is always collecting my cards. My transactions are not always successful. Then when you want to solve your own when you want to bring your solution to the market, you definitely bring something that's more superior to what's existing in the market. And even though you want to even maybe not something that there's a competitor, you want to bring a very, very new product. So it's very difficult to market at that point because bringing something new to the market. But it's more better to, build or stack on top of an existing market than just to go into a very new open market. You can also explore that as well. Then to your second question that talks about what are the possible things that can happen if you gave the example that I gave earlier, which speaks to, if people are dropping off during the login process, it means that, okay, what are the possible things that are happening at that point? So the basic fact is a lot of things can be happening, right? It might be issues with the copy as not properly positioned. It might be issues, maybe you okay, I'm just trying to be central now, right? Might be issues maybe when you're developing the button on the mobile screen. Maybe more customers are logging in via mobile than web, and you created the platform for just web. And at the point when you're logging into mobile, they can put username and password, but the login button is hiding somewhere. I'm just being very, very open now. So there are a lot of things that might happen. So that's where sometimes the hypothesis comes in as well. Okay, when you've even seen where people are dropping off, you can start thinking of possibilities. What are the possibilities? Then you will now go further to take qualitative feedback. I say now I now go further to ask users. You might call a couple of users at this point, or you might even, so people go ahead to even say watching users use their product. So when you're not seeing someone using it from a mobile screen, you're not seeing that I find it difficult to locate the login button. Then you know that is the issue. So there are a lot of issues that can happen at that point, but it's for you to just identify some beforehand, asking the users that we are dropping off what was their reason for dropping off, if you have access to them, or you can give it to a new user just to see their experience of how they proceed from point A to point B. I believe I was able to answer your two questions. Or if you also have contribution, any other person that have contribution, you can as well chip in as well. Thanks.
So yeah, the second question, I think I heard what I needed to hear. So because the reason I asked the question, like I said, if I said the next thing I wanted to say, maybe I'll answer my own question. I just wanted to know maybe there's another perspective from the lecturer's point of view So you answered my question quite right, which is there is no way to say that it is logging that is our problem unless you now take. So the point I wanted to establish there is when we get those kind of data, even from solutions like Amplitude that are very smart and all of that, we still have to do some of our own survey to now get the right feedback from the customer to say this is exactly the challenge. Some people can say I didn't like the user interface. Some people can say um, there was no need for me to get to that feature, because I saw another feature that already exists on the solution that actually, you know, distracted me and all of that. So it's all of that that I wanted to hear. So I think when you mentioned the survey from the customers, that answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah. How about the first question, developing from
Yeah, you answered all my questions.
okay.
Thanks. Unless anybody else has a question.
Okay. Any other, please?
No, I don't. I don't. So I think a part of the
I do.
challenge we have here. Oh, okay. Should I allow? Okay, Mary, you can go first then, because mine is not a
Oh,
question. Yeah.
yeah. Thanks, Temisa. That was insightful. But yeah, I think I have a question around. I'm trying to remember what you were saying again. What you said from the data, you're able to identify that sales guys were selling POS at a cheaper rate to just a random customer, and no, sorry, to their relatives or something, and selling at a higher rate to random customers. So from the data, how were you able to identify that?
Okay, okay. So what we did, what we how we went to identify that is first thing we saw that how are people referring other customers. So we saw customers that were referring other customers. We saw customers that were not referring other customers, right? We now check the referral code of those that are referring. We now saw that those that are referring are just normal people, but those that are not referring are people that were referred by our sales staff. So let me just break it down again. There are some people that were referring, right, that were sold to by. Okay, so okay, I'm mistaken. Let me take it. Let me take it one more time. There are people that are referring, right, to that are selling to other people. So for example, now let me say, let's say Ikena is a sales staff, and myself, I'm just an agent. So we're seeing that Temisa, when I sold the device to Mary, Mary now referred China. But when Ikena finally sold the device to Dapo did not refer anybody. So we now went ahead to ask Dapo, how much did you buy? Because one of our assumptions is that maybe these people bought this device at a very high stake. When I asked people that Ikena was selling for, how much do people buy this device? They are all saying 80K, 100K, 25, 80K, 100K, 80K, 100K. Then asking people that I sold the device, which is you said you bought your device at 30K. And we are seeing that when you call for issue resolution, me being someone that brought you in, I was resolving your issue. And when Dapo always call Ikena for resolution, I beg, I they busy, I they for feed now, you understand? So we saw that people that had connection with people that sold to them had more referral than people that don't have any connection. And even the agent, they are still angry that they bought the device for 80K and finally saw that it was being sold for 30K. So I don't know if you understand the illustration I gave. Was it clear enough?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So once you see, so at the first point we saw the data. So after you see the data, it's not making sense to you. You can also go ahead to say, okay, do a second call to the customer to say what is the issue. So still do further survey. As I said earlier, the outbound team is meant for anybody to use, right? Any of us can just contact the head of the outbound team, the lead. This is Shisom. Tell him that just fix something in his calendar that maybe by Friday next week, I would want you to call person. They will create space for you, and they would also initiate the call, and based on what you ask them to bring back, they will also give you the report just like that. So anybody can access the advanced team, and they are there for us to use as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Temisa, but I did not sell device to Dabo for 80 or 100,000. I don't know why it had to be me and not you.
I am evil man.
Yeah, I think what I was going to say is that I think we had a session with Amplitude, about a session with Pendo as well on trying to bring in an analytics tool. But yes, we got to the engineering bits, because your data sets has to be in a specific format, and they basically need to be a structure on your database for you to use those services successfully. And that was where we stopped, because it was going to be a project on its own to make our system conform with that. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot manual. We export to Excel and start fetching into the system. I think that was why we stopped it, because we went back and forth with Nduka for a while, and there was basically no point. It was going to end up being like a MATI project where we've done agreement since March, and we have started paying, and we have not been able to use it. And that was what I think we saw then. I just called it off. And I think I had a session with Pendo recently. I think Temisa, you're on that call now.
You told me about them, but
oh, you didn't join eventually. Yeah, I thought you were on the call. So I had a session with Pendo as well, and same thing as well. And considering that would basically be a direct debit payment. I didn't want any problem from any other, but we already had other issues with Martin now. So I think that's why we didn't use it. I've heard Emmanuel complain in management meeting as well to talk about our system is not formatted the right way. So for us to use those tools here, we need to do a lot of work on our engineering tech bits to make sure you're able to capture these data. Even our app needs to change. So from what it is today, you need to be able to capture, I've forgotten what the guy called it, and you need to be able to capture this. If somebody's going to drop off at this point, based on your app design, you should be able to know. Not like our own now that everything is on one page. So there's a reason why you spread those things and say, okay, this is bio data page, this is address page, and this is the image capture page. So you get to know where people are dropping off. And it's when we structure things that way that you're able to get drop-off points, get these things, get that, and so on. As you can see, we've been trying to push KYC restructuring now. It is still getting kickbacks to say, no, we need to have everything on the same page. No, we said let us split them into different things so that you can know that, oh, this person tried to activate or migrate to this second level, unlike what we have now. So which is why those things don't work for me in this environment. For us, even our KYC level is different from